Hello, the wet season has arrived. Yay! And to toast it, to celebrate the arrival of the wet season, we'll have a shot of the good stuff. And it is Bardel Slivovica, which is Croatian plum brandy. So, cheers. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. And had a beer chaser, Beck's. Yummy. Okay, what's this about? Well, I'm going to play you a video of what's happening right now at my place, in my town where I live, and under my house, and down my street. So, let's talk about travelling in the wet tropics during the wet season. Here is my advice. Just don't do it. Because as you'll see in the video, one individual tried to do it and he screwed up. And apparently he's from up here. He's from Townsville. And he screwed up and now his car's a write-off. There was one other individual who I didn't have the camera out at that time, and he was in a Corolla. The water was a lot lower, but it was still too high for a low vehicle like a Corolla. And I was shaking my head and he put his window down and I said, mate, don't do it. The electrics in modern low cars are pretty low down. You know, you can give it a whirl, but I wouldn't risk it. I said, but if you do risk it, make sure you just, because there was vehicles going around him, going past higher vehicles, you know, four-wheel drive trucks and that. And I said, if you are going to go, wait until one of these pulls past and just stay behind them so that they can create a bow wave and clear some of the water away so that you're not copping it all in the car. So, because he would have had water come, the distance that he would have had to travel where he was underwater, he probably would have had water coming up through the floor, no doubt about it. But anyway, he must have made it because I couldn't see his vehicle on the road. So luckily, he made it to the centre of town, which is a bit higher. So I've had, like, even though it wouldn't even be up to halfway up my wheels, just in case, you don't want to don't wait too long, all right? If the water starts coming up, go and park your car somewhere where it's nice and high, where it's going to be out of the water, because yeah, a lot of people don't, and they lose their cars. So a few things to be aware of. Number one, do your research. Okay, do your research. If the forecast is saying rain, if you're in the wet tropics, after September onwards, if you're in the wet tropics and there is a forecast of heavy rain, don't do it. Or if you're thinking about travelling in the tropics, between about September and about April, which is a long time, but that's the time that we're talking about. If you're thinking of travelling in the wet tropics during those months and there's a forecast of heavy rain, don't do it. Just don't do it, all right? Come here in the dry season. During the dry season, it's excellent. It's about 26 degrees, 27 degrees during the day. Just perfect, idyllic. And then it cools down in the evening just enough so you can actually put a cover over yourself and really enjoy a good night's sleep. During the wet season, if you're not used to it, you are going to absolutely, number one, hate it. Number two, you might come foul of the conditions and lose your vehicle like this one idiot. And he was an idiot because the motel manager who you'll see who I spoke to, had a chat to, he gave him advice and the guy didn't listen, so yeah, bad luck. You know what, you can only give people advice and tell them, you know, don't do it, and once they've done it, well, guess what, bad luck for them. Unfortunately, common sense is very rare. You know, if someone's giving you advice, they're giving you that advice for a reason. Okay, not because they feel superior to you and you know and are patronising, because they're actually trying to do the right thing and give you advice. Please don't travel in the wet tropics during the wet season. Just don't do it. You know, the tourism board of Queensland, Bureau, whatever it is, they don't. It's not like that. They do not have commercials, right? Ads on TV saying don't travel in the tropics during the wet season. They don't have those commercials, right? So, and there's a reason for that, because especially now with COVID, everybody wants the tourist dollar, right? And even before COVID, that was the case, right? Ever since I've been here 16 years, it's the same thing over and over and over again, all right? People don't do their research, number one. That's the biggest thing. You just don't do your research when you travel. You got to do your research. Totally do your research, all right? So don't travel here between September and April if there is forecasted rain. The wet season is very late. It is only now in January that has started, or very late December, early January that it started. That's extremely late. Now, I think that might have put some people in a false sense of security because there was just no rain. You know, everything was really dry right up till late December. Yeah, that's not good. So things to look out for. If you are actually going to be silly enough to travel in the wet tropics during the wet season, number one, make sure you've got enough drinking water. Okay? Yeah, you can boil the water that's flooding around, but a lot easier just to buy the 5 litre containers of drinking water, or have jerrys, 10 litre or 20 litre jerrys of water. Grab a 20 litre jerry. They're not very expensive, you know, from Supercheap and whatnot. Grab a 20 litre water jerry. Carry that around with you. Have that as your emergency reserve, right? Just for drinking, right? Make sure you got some food. Just get some tins of, I don't know, whatever, spam. Actually, spam is not that bad for you, contrary to popular belief. You know, spam, beans, whatever you like, you know, that's ready to eat, that you don't have to cook. All right, so have some tins of food. What else? Be aware that if you're in a dry spot and you're surrounded by floodwater, guess what's going to happen? You are going to have all sorts of creepy crawlies in your vicinity, because you are not the only creature that wants to stay dry. All right, so I have, you know, in the bigger floods, I have had all sorts of animals, and when a flood happens, the animals have absolutely no regard for any animosities that they might have between themselves under normal circumstances. So you will have every kind of animal under the sun just bunched together in one little dry spot, trying to stay out of the flood. You know, kangaroos, wallabies, goannas, snakes. That's one. Snakes. You know, anything that is not an aquatic animal, and you've got a dry spot, it's going to want to park its ass there. It's just out of survival instinct. So be aware. It's spiders, all right, bugs. Spiders is a big one. Yeah, bugs. But you know what? They're not going to hurt you, because their survival instinct has kicked in, and they're not interested in killing anyone or hurting anyone or stinging anyone or biting anyone. They're just interested in staying dry. So be aware of that. Think about that. You know, a lot of people don't realise that. It's pretty logical, but a lot of people don't realise that. So, the Slivovica has really kicked in. I'm going to have another one. Yeah. So this is what you do. You know what? This town floods. I live on a flood. This town is on a floodplain. All right. Floods are not anything unusual. In fact, you know what? When I first got here, and the first flood that I experienced, which was about the third year that I was here, it was only about 6 inches under my house. By that time, I'd had a house here, bought a house here, and I was freaking out. Like, I was completely freaking out. And like my boss, had a job locally, and the boss said, "Oh mate, it's only really low. Don't worry about it." And I was just like, "No," completely freaking out. You know what? After 16 years, even after about, even less than that, now it's sort of, I don't know, it's sort of in a perverse, I suppose, yeah, in a perverse way, it adds charm to the place. You know, it's just the boring old, where I'm originally grew up in Melbourne, like nothing happened there. It was just boring, boring, boring. Here, no. You got floods, you got cyclones, which in the United States you call a hurricane, right? Or that's enough. You don't need much more. We don't get earthquakes, all right? We don't get volcanoes, even though there are a lot of extinct volcanoes around here. So that's the natural disasters that we do get here during the wet season. Early on it'll be the floods, later on it'll be cyclones, hurricanes, right? But ours are called cyclones because they go the other way. And when a cyclone does come, it will typically bring a flood because trailing it it'll turn into a massive rain depression and just dump a whole lot in the catchment. So that's pretty much all I've got to say. Then I'll let you see the video of me walking around in the water and talking to the the new motel manager who had no idea what he was getting himself into, but he's a really nice guy. So yeah, so what we say in Croatian, our toast is živjeli, which essentially means, you know, live it up. Yeah, so živjeli. And chase it down with some more becks. So I'm pretty sloshed because I've had about 3 or 4 shots, and but that's what you do. I mean, what, you know, if you get lemons, what do? You make lemonade. I mean, I was like the motel owner said, he's going to have a party. Pretty soon he's going to get all the guests out. He's going to get the beer out, and they're all just going to have a flood party. That's what you do. You know, when you're experiencing adverse conditions, what do? Just live it up, because you might die tomorrow. You know what? Whenever I have experienced really, really bad situations, do you know what? Do you know what kept everybody sane? Humour. Like, seriously, in the military, it was humour. You know, under really seriously adverse conditions. During work, humour. You know, that's what keeps you sane. Just, you know, if it's not life-threatening, then just, it's not a big deal. Okay, just get over it. Okay, there's people who are in serious life-threatening situations all the time, and this is nothing. It's just a bit of water. You know, yeah, you can die from too much water, but I'm just having a look out in my backyard. Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I'm pretty happy. So, yeah, I am drunk right now. I'll be honest, because this stuff. Let me tell you, this stuff. It knocks you about. But I'm happy. All right, that's the main thing. Being happy. That's another message. Don't let this sort of stuff get you down. Okay. Man, you know, here in Australia, we're in the luckiest country in the world. And what's the worst thing that can happen to you in Australia? You know, seriously, like, realistically, probably the worst thing in all likelihood is a traffic accident. You know, that's probably the biggest killer in Australia. They say heart disease. Man, I don't know anyone who's had heart disease. You know, lung cancer. I honestly don't know anyone who's had. I'm 56 years. Well, very soon I'll be 56 years old. I don't know anyone who's had lung cancer. You know, you know what? You got more chance of getting killed on the road, I think, than anything else. And people say, oh, you know, aircraft. Man, I've done a shitload of flying. No. And I do a lot of road travel. I do a lot of driving. That's the really dangerous one, because it's really easy to become complacent. Yeah. And I do a trip between the town where I live and Townsville, and the amount of crosses that I see on the road, along that road, is a lot. All right, a lot. A lot of people die along that road, and I'm going to take, because this is serious. A lot of people die along that road, and man, is that screen fogged up? Yeah, sorry about the fogged up screen. Yeah, it's really, really humid. So anyway, I'll shut up and see you later. So, a few days of solid rain. This is what you get. That's a local drain near my place, and it is pretty full, and it won't take much to get it overflowing. So this is what happens in the wet season. Okay, so we're about to have a look at the river. That runs next to the town where I live, and it's getting high. It's getting really high. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cyclone sort of in the Gulf. If that dumps a heap of rain in the catchment, yeah, we're in for a flood. So here is the river. So you can see there, that is close to the banks. That is close to the top of the banks, and that is without a massive dump in the catchment. That's just local, pretty much, I think. Although I think it's pretty much raining everywhere. So if you are coming to the tropics, don't do it during the wet season. If you're thinking about coming to the tropics, do not come to the wet tropics in the wet season. Just don't do it, because you will get caught out, you will get cut off. Okay, this is what happens in the wet tropics during wet season. And this is out the front of my house. So that's my letterbox, the other side of my fence. So we'll go for a wee walk. I'll be very careful. I've got fishing shoes on, so no danger there. The water on my drive is static, which means that things have sort of leveled out, even though you can see the street is flowing. Yeah, during a major flood, this is a river, so it's up to my knees. See there, it's up to my knees at the moment. I've got an umbrella just to keep the camera dry, but not that it needs it. It's a DJI Osmo. So that's a motel, and unfortunately he's quite low, but he should be alright at the moment. There is a few full driving around. Realistically, I wouldn't be driving anything around. I've parked my car up opposite the Shire Council offices, which is quite high. If it floods there, then yeah, the town's totally stuffed. This isn't too bad. This is okay. Well, that guy's turning around. He's got his yellow lights on. That ain't going to help. Having your yellow lights on won't make any difference. So where my house is actually the low part of the street, which doesn't help. So directly in front of us, if we keep going down there, is the wetlands. And what happens is that overflows, and that overflows and it just comes straight over. So the river floods, that floods, and you get a dual effect. So this is what is it? The CMCA, Caravan Motorhome and Camping Association or something or other. They lease
that. The reason why that hasn't got any houses on it is because that is the area where the first dump, the first tip was. So that ground is unstable, so you're not allowed to build anything on it. Although there are a lot of people around here who completely disregard the rules and do build things. So we've got some people in the caravan in the motel. They've got dogs. What of it? I don't know. We're gonna have a chat to them. I don't know. Are they talkative? So we've got a semi-trailer parked up. A low loader, a tractor on it. And you've got a few people parked up there. It's a bit of high ground. That does go under in a major flood. The whole motel, which is unfortunate. That's another motel. That is another motel, and that's the newest one. And when they built high. They were smart. This one's been here for a long time, and they weren't that smart. They should never have been able to build that motel at that height. It should be higher. This is one of the higher houses. He's okay. He's out of the water. I'm not. My house is about, I don't know, it's about a foot under, which is quite normal. Here we go, another four-wheel drive braving. I don't know where he intends to go, because I can guarantee you that the creeks further south of here are cut off. So they should just find a spot to park and just wait it out, like those people there. See that? That's the Wetlands Information Centre, and that's high, so people park the cars there. I haven't parked my car there. I've parked my car in front of the council offices, like I said. It's where I always park it. I could park it there. I probably should have, but it gets quite deep down there. So here's someone else. I don't know where these people think they're going, quite honestly. But here is what happens to people who really don't know what they're doing, who don't do their research, and come unstuck. This is only a minor flood. Really? You can see people vehicles and semis and that are parked up there. That's a nice high spot. You see that car? That person screwed up. I don't know where they are, but their vehicle is gone. That's a write-off. That's what happens. Someone else braving, having fun. He's having fun. He doesn't care. Just water, eh, mate? This is why you should not think about travelling in the wet tropics, Northern Australia, during the wet season. See, what had happened was that it was really, really dry for a long time until about, I don't know, 10 days ago. Then it started raining a little bit, raining more, and then in the last, say, 3-4 days, it has absolutely bucketed. And this is what happens. That's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen to you if you do not have a high four-wheel drive and you try and travel here in the wet tropics. It's not good. So I just wanted to show you some of that. Just trying to show people what happens. Just trying to show people what happens in the wet tropics. Well, a lot of people don't do their research. There was a guy he had stopped just there in a Corolla about an hour and a half ago. And I said to him, I'm filming actually, I hope you don't mind. Yeah? And I said to him, don't do it, because around the BP, that's where it gets pretty deep. Because having lived here 16 years, I know the area well.
We're virgins.
Oh yeah? Where are you from? Gold Coast. Oh, you bought it? Oh, you're managing it.
This is cool. I love it.
It is. Look, you know what? I've been here 16 years now. When I first moved here, the first flood that I experienced would have been about 6 to 8 inches under my house. I'm actually at the lowest point, and I was freaking out. But after a while, it's sort of, you know what? In a really perverse way, it sort of adds charm to the place.
Yeah, well, that guy that car over there, he's in our motel.
Oh, is he really?
I said to him, don't do it. He's going to work. I said, no, don't.
He was going to work?
He's going to work.
He works here?
Yeah, he works in...
He's a local?
He works in an elderly place, and I said, don't do it.
Well, he's a local?
Yeah.
No.
I think he comes from Townsville. And I said,
Well, even Townsville you should know.
Don't do it. I said, it's not worth it. I said, you may get to work or you may not, but then you'll never get back.
Was this yesterday?
This morning.
This morning.
It just happened.
Actually, it got pretty high because when I parked my car opposite the council offices.
Yeah.
I could park it there, but I'd always park it there. And I saw that at the corner there at Mitre 10, all grass clippings were about a foot higher than where the water was. So it was actually higher.
Yeah.
And then it's gone down, and now it's sort of...
I think it's because the trucks, some of those trucks...
Oh yeah, you're right, yeah.
Barreling through.
Yeah. You know who were the worst people for that? The SES. Down this street, I used to have a neighbour. She had 2 roller doors, right? The house has still got 2 roller doors. She got her roller doors, this is in 2009, she got both her roller doors stoved in by the SES boat, just charging down here twice. They're a pack of idiots. I have no time for them. Bunch of yahoos.
Yeah.
Serious.
The trucks going through there, flat out.
Yeah.
And it just... big
Yeah,
waves
they don't care.
I'm going... yeah, well, I told him, I said, don't go. So what does he do? Boom, straight out.
Yeah.
And I said to him, you know, if you leave, there's people waiting to get in your room,
Yeah.
and I'll put people in your room.
Yeah.
Went in there, we all went running out, we were about that deep. He didn't even open the door, didn't even acknowledge, nothing, he just sat in there. We didn't know if he had a heart attack or what the hell he'd done. Just sat there till the coppers arrived, and then he opened the window and went, I suppose you still want your room?
Yeah.
The coppers brought him back. And we had another guy in here.
Yeah.
And he goes, right, we're checking out.
To go where?
Where are you going? You're camping. He's got his thing full of camping gear. You can't go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere, no.
I said, I'll tell you something. As soon as you hand your key in, we've got people, truckies down
My
there.
oath.
They're just going to come
Yeah.
in. Or I said,
Yeah.
are you sure you're leaving?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. Went in, took his key, went in, told the missus there's a vacant room. And then 5 minutes later he comes back and goes, oh, is our room taken? I went, long ago. It's gone. So he packed up and drove off. I don't know where he's going to go, because it's all shut down there. It's all shut, you can't get out.
Yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
his point.
The only shop that was open was the barber. Tony. He's crazy. I was going to go in there and I say, what are you doing, mate? I'll get my hair cut there. But
I'm going to bring the fishing rods out soon and sit on the thing and just with the fishing rods.
yeah. Just, if you can get a live mullet, just have it hanging out here. Yeah.
Just for a laugh.
Yeah. Well, it's not unusual to get a croc sitting around here.
Yeah, they're saying that. We've been waiting.
I've never seen one.
Yeah. I reckon there was one on the other driveway on the other side.
Yeah.
Last time it flooded like this.
This isn't too bad.
Yeah. Have we got the catchment yet? Is the catchment area hit here yet?
Oh, I think that's already come and gone.
I think high tide
because
is at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but they're not very high tides.
Nah, it's big now.
How high?
It's really high.
What, 4?
Yeah, they reckon it's
4 metres?
They reckon
nah.
Big high tides coming in. So if that happens, this here will come up.
You know what? It depends.
Yeah.
It really depends.
I'm only going from where on Gold Coast. I don't know about here.
Yeah, like
this is more flat than
like 2009. This went under.
Yeah, they said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was...
I'm amazed it's still open the street.
See, 2009 was a perfect storm, as you'd call it, because we had king tides over 4 metres. We had two peaks of the catchment come down. So it came up, it went down, and it came up again. So for about 10 days, I think for 6 weeks, we didn't see the sun. Serious, yeah. It was just complete overcast for 6 weeks. But that was like, it started raining at the start of September and just didn't stop.
Yeah.
So, whereas now, this is pretty late. Yeah, this is very late.
This will stop. This won't last. How long does it take to drain off?
Not very long. Not very long.
Half a day.
See, this is one of the first places to flood, but it's also one of the first places to drain. In 2009, I've got a buddy who's got a house, like one street from this way from the hospital,
yeah,
which is sort of low.
Yeah.
But he's never had a flood under his house. 2009, he just renovated it. He had new plaster and everything up, and the whole downstairs, his whole downstairs was renovated. He had a foot of water under there for about 2 weeks, just destroyed everything. So yeah, this is one of the first places to flood, but it's also one of the first to drain. So yeah.
It's good it gets rid of all our stuff. I don't have to pick it up.
It's clean out. No. Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
We need it anyway.
Yeah.
We're running out of lawn to cut.
Yeah.
Dust and anything.
Yeah. It's sort of like, if my driveway, if the water's static, it means that it's sort of pretty much leveled out.
That's it.
And it's pretty much static. So when it starts running from the street into my driveway, that's when you know it's going to get high. Yeah, it's coming up. But it's sort of static, so
yeah.
I think this is going to drain off.
I think I measured it down there, and I think it's only gone up about that far.
Yeah, it hasn't gone up very high at all. As long as we don't get a major surge from the catchment, this should probably, by tonight, should be drained. As long as it doesn't bucket down like it has been, like absolutely pouring down, you know, torrential downpour like it's been, yeah. So
we're fully booked, don't we?
Oh, no doubt. You know, there's a few semis and cars up there, and I saw one guy, he's carrying a bag of food because
we've almost run out. Everyone wanted breakfast this morning.
Yeah. People.
We've run out of eggs.
You know what?
Run out of bacon.
I've got a YouTube channel. This is going on YouTube, and I advise people. This is going to be a film advising people: don't travel during the wet season.
No.
Just don't do it.
No, because when we came here, everyone was going, "Oh, why'd you come in the wet season?" We're going, "What wet season?"
Yeah.
Now we know what wet season.
Yeah.
is.
Look,
but coming from Gold Coast.
Look.
If this was Gold Coast, we would have 100-mile-an-hour winds with this.
Yeah.
You know, and
oh, don't worry. That happens too.
yeah.
That happens too.
We didn't get any of the cyclones, so which is
No.
a good thing. Because I packed all the tables and everything and stuck them in the corner.
Yeah. Well, you see, you know what one of the problems is? The Tourism Bureau isn't going to have adverts about don't travel here in the wet season because you'll get stuck because we've got cyclones and floods. They're going to tell you about how fantastic it is.
Yep. Yep.
And to a degree that I think it's sort of negligent. You know?
We're going to have a party in there with the
yeah, that's what everyone does.
We're going to have a party.
Yeah, look, when this happens, it's make sure you get a good stock of beer.
Yeah, well, I've just pulled me fridge up.
And Jack Daniels and all's good.
Jack's gone.
Jack's gone.
Jack's gone.
Oh,
gone.
No.
I went,
No.
shit.
Hey.
But as I said, we're virgins. It hits again. I know what I'm going to do.
Make sure. I always keep a backup. I always have a backup. I always have a little store.
I'll have to go into my private litter stock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, but it's
All
good.
right.
It's good to meet you.
Yes. It's good to meet you. I'll edit this out because no one knows my name.
I'm Steve.
Steve. Yep. Kiwi.
Yeah, up from the coast.
Gave it away.
I don't know how.
Yeah. What part?
Wellington.
Wellington. Oh yeah.
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 We were in Gold. We were in Gold Coast. Yeah, this is what I mean. This is not weather. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
This is what you can still wear t-shirts and shorts.
Yeah, just go naked.
Get that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
We had 7 News staying here before the floods.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
We said, well, if you don't get the floods, me and the missus will do naked and afraid out the backyard for you.
Yeah.
Just so you can film something.
Yeah. Some controversy for them.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'll be dragging everyone out soon out of the tent, sit them in there, have a few beers and
Yeah.
maybe put a barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else can you do?
Nothing. Party.
Party.
Hey,
That's
if you get a lemon,
it. Right, what do you do with it? Put
Make-
tequila with
make
it.
some lemon. Yeah. 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 All right, mate.
All right, mate.
I'll let you go.
Have a good
Yeah,
day
you
around.
too.
I'll probably float past later.
Well, 2009, I was sitting at the front of my place watching fridges and washing machines, microwaves, lawn furniture, just floating past. Yeah. They actually, I think it was the Coast Guard, they fished a cow about a mile off the coast.
Guarantee you, if there was a crate of fish going past, you wouldn't be watching it.
No. All right, buddy. I'll see you later. There you go. There's a new local. So he and his wife have just taken over management of the motel. And they're from the Gold Coast. Well, he's from New Zealand, but he's obviously been in Australia for a long time. Because he's only got a slight remnant of a Kiwi accent. So we're going back to my place. There you go. There's some interesting information and what silly people do. Don't be a silly person. Do not travel. I say again, do not travel in the tropics during the wet season. Okay, that's me out.